So let's just settle into our meditation posture as best we can. And just know that whatever it is you're bringing into your meditation this evening is just perfectly fine. I think that the sooner we start to accept ourselves and where we're at and it being okay, the sooner we're going to be able to accept everybody else being where they're at and it being okay, unless we have the wisdom to know otherwise. So if you are sitting at a desk with your feet down on the ground, feet flat on the floor, feel all the little toe pads on the ground, the soles of the feet, the heels. Notice the weight of your legs into your ankles and your feet. Be sitting right on top of your sits bones and your shoulders are aligned with the hips. And your spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. So just imagine you're lengthening your spine. Put some space in between those vertebrae. And if you wish, you can just tip your head forward very slightly, just a little bit of length in the back of the neck. If your eyes were open, they'd be down looking at a spot in front of you. And take a nice deep breath and relax. Just bring your awareness to the crown of the head and relax the scalp and the forehead, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the mouth, the ears, temples, back of the head, the neck, the throat. And just release your shoulders, allow your shoulder blades to drop down, and just relax the whole front part of the body and all of your limbs. There's Alexis, we have several people here who are not muted, so if you could please mute everyone, that'd be great. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Just notice if there are any sounds in your environment and just allow those sounds to be there. Try not to follow them with the mind. Just have them almost in the periphery of your brain, and then bring the mind back to the sensations of the breath. And you can feel those sensations perhaps in the base of the nostrils, perhaps in the rising and the falling of the belly, the rising and the falling of the chest. And then just notice what's arising in the mind. Have you had a busy week? Did you have a busy day at work? Do you still have things from work floating around your mind? Do you have visitors staying this weekend? So whatever is going on in your life, we're giving ourselves this very short 30 minutes to do our practice, to heal ourselves, just for ourselves. So just notice the thoughts that are arising in the mind and just allow them without any kind of judgment. It's just what's going on right now. Doesn't have to be any big deal. It's just there. And you can just put those thoughts, if you wish, on a nice white, a little fluffy cloud and just send it on its way. Take a step back. Be like an objective observer. Just watch. And maybe we just put ourselves on the bank of our river. And notice the quality of the water of that river. And just know that while you're sitting on the bank, you're free from the river. So then bring to mind all the people of your life. You can start with our loved ones. And these are people who are such dear friends to us. The spouses and children are best friends. And then there's those people who are, not so dear. And then there's our strangers. It's interesting, they can change place, these people, these relationships at any time. And then think that they're all the same as you and me. They wish to be happy. They wish to be free from suffering, and they have this extraordinary capacity for enlightened minds. So I think we'll do this meditation this evening for all these people of our life, and for these 5 men who, I would say, perished rather than passed away down there in the ocean near the Titanic. And then anyone else that you can think of that might need a practice like this or benefit from a practice like this. So remembering there is no negativity, that we cannot be purified. And this purification process it's basically a psychological one. We're doing this with our mind. So we create negativity with our mind, so we can equally change that. We have the power, we do have the power to change what's going on in our mind. It doesn't have to control us. And we can just create positive thoughts instead. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow process, because we have habits, and we have karmic habits as well. And we have conditioning, and we have all kinds of things. So it's a little bit something we have to work at. So we start with the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. We experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. And so having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any kind of future suffering that we might experience. So logically, it would make sense to pull out these karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance, and we have 2 little sections here. One is refuge, the other is developing compassion. So in the first one, refuge, we're relying upon the Buddha Vajrasattva, who we see as a doctor, who has the methods that we can use to purify. And we're not needing necessarily Vajrasattva to forgive us. I mean, it's not about that. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his methods, his medicine. So you can imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. This image here, if you're able to, remember that. And remember, it's not a flat painting that's sitting on the crown of your head. It's almost like a hologram. It's a light body, and it has energy. And you can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit, if you wish. So this is a radiant white light body above the crown of your head, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. Has a beautiful radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two, which symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So here we have this section on compassion where we're relying on other beings. So this is why it's included in reliance. So we're relying on the people that we've harmed and the people who've harmed us, the harmers. And just think of someone you've harmed recently or in the past. And just develop a sense in your mind, in your heart, a wish for them to be free from suffering. And the same for those people who've harmed you, because the harm they've caused you will manifest as some kind of suffering for them in the future. So we make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these sentient beings and think, I must purify for their sake. And now we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the actual medicine doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. Then be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. So next is the purification of your speech, and Vajrasattva now very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, which overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you can just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking badly about others behind their backs. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Om Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything but benefit others now with your speech. So the next is the purification of the mind, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So it's just the same as when you walk into a pitch black room and you flick on that switch, the darkness is instantly dispelled. So it's the same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all the attachment and neediness and anger and violence and depression and anxiety and bitterness and grudges, insecurities and jealousies, all instantly dispelled, not one atom left. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyato Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabao Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyato Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabao Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyato Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata Hum Pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. I think there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So now is the purification of even these imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. So this time imagine Vajrasattva is sending out light and nectar, and it just fills you completely and eradicates even this kind of subtlest energy of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyato Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyato Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyato Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyato Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyato Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyato Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyato Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe. So now feel you're completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. So even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. So next we do have a couple of minutes. So let's just meditate on this fourth step, the power of resolve. It's a really crucial one. So first of all, you can start by rejoicing in your efforts, coming night after night, and the progress that you're making. Undoubtedly, you've made some significant changes, and sometimes they're not always immediately obvious to us. You can guarantee that if you're doing this practice, even with very little focus, something's happening at maybe at a cellular energetic level. So you can rest, sleep well at night, knowing you're doing something amazing for yourself and for others. So then maybe just think about something that you would like to work on, maybe just over the weekend, some habit. And then imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And you can just think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, and Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same thing. So next, Precious Rinpoche always would recommend to meditate on emptiness to help sort of seal the practice. So you can think in emptiness, there is no I, the creative negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, just try and place your mind there for a moment. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think that perhaps the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this purification to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, the source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And for Lama Zopa Rinpoche's swift return, the lamp of the Galen teachings, the supreme refuge, Lama Zopa, has departed in order to rouse the Dharma disciples who cling to permanence. Supreme Being, you took upon yourself the Kadam teacher's way of life and were bound to it night and day, greatly benefiting the teachings and transmigratory beings. Great Master of the teachings, supreme guide for East and West, hidden yogi, Lama Tupten Zopa. Unrivaled Lama Zopa, you took His Holiness the Sovereign, Lord of the Victorious Ones, as your crown and followed all his instructions. Benefactor Lama Zopa, for the many public and personal needs of Tibetans and others, you opened the vase of resources and cleared away the suffering of hardship. One of great mind, Lama Zopa, you held helpless and voiceless animals with a mind of loving kindness and were their holy savior and protector. Siddha Lama Zopa, Lord of the ocean of mandalas, with the wings of emptiness and compassion, you crossed the waters of the generation and completion stages. Lama Tupten Zopa, great hidden yogi, ornament of the activities of the Galen teachings, in truth, a great son of the victorious ones. Having thought of me and other transmigratory beings of the degenerate age, from your seat of lotus and sun, at the heart of Sangwa Yeshi, may the jewel that fulfills all wishes, emanating again with a brilliance of 10,000 suns, smile swiftly and without obstacles to our eyes filled with tears of faith. And for Lama Ursel, Venerable One, to you whose kindness exceeds that of all the conquerors, to those wanderers in far-off places, especially the West, mindful of your loving concern for us in intentionally descending again into a family of a far distant land, we make this request. O Lama, please live long. And for Geshe Shera, beloved teacher, leading your students toward wisdom and compassion, explaining through exacting discernment the steps of the graduated path, you are the unequaled guide. Please live a long and stable life. Okay, everybody. Thank you so very much. We lost a person.